Hi, everybody. We're back with Julia Stege, and Julia is the magical marketer. And we have been talking about attracting your soul tribe. And basically, what she's saying is that if you really know who you are and you know who you want and what you want your business to look like, and you put it out there, you will attract those kinds of people. So I know that one of the things that you say, Julia, is that we can inspire change through our marketing. How do we do that?
Well, Gail, the how I like to look at marketing is sort of backwards from the way most people do. Most people are thinking about the tiny percent that are responding to them. And you do want to think about them. You want to have a conversation with them. But you really are having a conversation with the broader world. Because there's a lot of people that are going to see your message who will not engage with you or take action, but they will have gotten your message. So if you're doing something like, a radio show or a podcast, or there's a lot of people that could be listening to you that are not necessarily responding, right? Directly, but they're responding in themselves when they hear your message. And so you want your message to be, I call it your world changing message. You want it to have a transformational impact. You want it to have an impact similar to your work. So your message is actually guiding them a little bit towards your work. But it starts with something that maybe they can just walk away with that piece and it can change their life. So one of the things that I like to get across, no matter what, is being yourself is the best bet. Being authentically yourself, being even vulnerably yourself in your marketing and in your business practices as you're developing whatever it is that you're building. Be authentic, be yourself. Everyone else has already taken Oscar Wilde. And so many people find that to be a relief that they just heard me say that. And that is the effect that I want. In addition,
Okay, so now I hear this, I hear you, I hear the radio show, I hear the podcast, and it touches me, it gets through to me.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to uh, get in touch with you or go to your website or buy your book or anything like that. How do we trigger that?
Well, that's the next thing. I mean, what's going to happen is that people who hear you and feel aligned with you will take the action. So they're aligned with you and it's the right timing. They're going to go like right now to brandingfromtheheartbook.com and download my book because they're feeling aligned. That may be only a tiny percentage of the people listening. And that's okay. That's the ones who are ready now to hear what I have to say and to go through some more steps to clarify, who am I attracting and what do I want to say to them and what will I offer them and how does that guide them to work with me or work with me in a business or, organizational setting.
That really takes a lot of courage. You know that, Julia? I mean, you really have to, for someone who is out there and thinking, okay, I either want to start this business or I'm in business and I want to attract more people. That is a really powerful mind shift that they have to have.
I agree. I agree and not one entered into lightly.
That's right. It's not entered into lightly, and I. It really takes a great deal of belief. I really am impressed with that because I know how successful you are, and I know how much you do, and I know how deeply you believe in this. So the fact that you've been able to really create this, I'm going to call it an aura, this aura around you, that you are this magical marketer and you do attract these people, I think is absolutely amazing. And but you had this in you evidently from the very beginning, because going back to when you were 21 to 25 and you were working in New York, it just did not agree with you.
It
And
totally didn't agree. You should have seen how crabby I was. There's this classic picture of me, and I'm frowning as I'm painting. And it's just, I just look at that and I go, that was me back then, nothing could uplift me almost. And I just had to get out of there. And I just, sometimes that's what happens to us, but we still don't listen. I listened. I had to get out of there, and I did. I follow my gut.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I can't not follow my gut. I have to. And I know that a lot of people that I talk to, they've gone really out of the box with what they're offering. And it does take a lot of bravery, but we need these out of the box solutions right now. The in the box has gotten us into a lot of trouble.
Yes, it has. It has. So, what are some of the other things that you do to create the success that you're having in your business?
I take consistent actions. So this is something I noticed that some of my clients haven't been willing to do. And therefore, they've slowed themselves down in terms of getting their thing out there. And so, consistent actions, imperfect actions. So, I put up a website, my first website, I put it up in 2 days. It was pretty good, but was it perfect? No. Not by a mere long shot, right? But I did it. I put out marketing on a platform. I wasn't sure if I was going to get results, and I did get results. I went networking and met people and presented my work to them confidently. And this, of course, is after having been doing my work for 20 years too. Like, I'm old. But
well, Julia, this is a show for women 50 plus, and that brings me. That's a really great time to ask you this question. Do you think about retirement? Do you think about I am getting old? My philosophy, and this is what we try to get across on the show, is that you're just never too old. I mean,
I agree with that. And my grandmother was a landscape architect. She designed these beautiful landscapes that looked like they looked natural, but they were actually not. So they kind of fit in, sort of like Frank Lloyd Wright. It looks like it grew there, but it didn't. And she worked until she couldn't. She was 90 when she stopped working. And the only reason she had a stroke.
Well, I certainly believe in that, and we keep trying to get across to these women that it just is never too late. And
I feel like that. I mean, it is a little too late if you can't get your mindset together, because my dad, who is 90 and he's put off getting his books out, he feels the pain of procrastination. And it's more difficult for him to produce it now. So I'm not recommending waiting.
Oh, well, now we didn't say wait. We said it's never too late. So
it's never too late, but don't wait.
Exactly. And I mean, you know all the examples like Colonel Sanders and well, who is the famous artist that didn't start painting until she was in her late. Yeah. So the whole point is that even if you've been through the mill, I mean, let's say you've just had an unhappy marriage, and let's say that your kids don't want anything to do with you anymore, and you've been downsized and right-sized or whatever. It is not too late to do what you want to do, whether it's a hobby, whether it's an avocation, whether it's a business, whatever it happens to be, you can do it. And that's the whole key to everything. So But that again, I think, goes back to your definition of a soul tribe, because you've got to be around those kinds of people in order to feel comfortable doing these things.
Right. I mean, what I noticed in doing my own business, I didn't raise kids, so I had a lot of time to muse over things that were going on in my business. And I noticed that there were thoughts in my head at times like, well, what if they find out who I really am, kind of thoughts, especially around lawyers, dentists, doctors, those types of men. Okay.
Because you thought they would think you were too airy-fairy?
Yeah, exactamundo. And so I realized, wait, why am I concerned? Why not just proactively attract the people that I would get along with, who would find me, they don't want to change me. They're not going to find out what I'm like. They're going to know beforehand. That's where I decided to put out this law of attraction stuff, because before that, I just did it on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I
that's a part of it too, that law of
on the side. I didn't let my clients know that I was into this law of attraction stuff until around, 5, I don't know, it 5 or 6 years in, maybe.
Well, the whole point of law of attraction, though, also goes back to what you were talking about by being persistent and taking action, because you can have and believe the law of attraction, but if you're not doing certain things to create this law of attraction in action, nothing necessarily may happen.
Well, you have to, one, have a positive aspect. I mean, outlook. I was talking with a woman today, and I knew all about her problems within the first 15 minutes, but she said she was doing law of attraction. All right? Like, I knew more than I needed to know about all of her problems, put it that way. And I said, well, you need to focus on what you want and not be so broiled into what you're upset about or what you're not liking about what's happening, because it just creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. And we got to be diligent, and we're the only one, we're the ones creating our world. This is how I believe. I'm not saying that I know the absolute truth. However, here's what I think. I think that we're at cause in our life. And I get a choice. Either I'm at cause or I'm not. I don't get a halfway thing. Like, well, sometimes I'm the one that's creating my life circumstance. Other times it's not my fault. No. I'm either responsible or there's some other omnipotent being that I have no control. One or the other. So I prefer that I'm the one. And that's how I proceed. And therefore, then I'm responsible when things aren't going well in my business. I have to really watch how I'm thinking.
That's so true, because when things aren't going well in your business, you do start to think in a totally different way.
Well, it becomes panic.
Exactly.
And panic attracts panic. So next thing you know, you've got panicked people in your pipeline. You got to I feel I need to spend hours a day maintaining my positive outlook, doing meditation and stuff like that.
Well, that's very true. But I'm curious, going back to this woman you were talking to, when she said, I'm the word she used, I'm doing the law of attraction.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I'm doing all that. I said, did you download my attraction plan? And she said, oh, yeah, I've been doing all that. And I said, that's my only advice for you right now. And she's like on the very verge, of a disaster. And the thought process that she's got is going to take her right there. And I'm saying I can't help you until you have a foundation But the best way I know of to create that foundation is to set your intention.
Mm-hmm.
And to maintain that focus. And then notice what comes up to do. Because it's not just sitting back. You need to take action. I had a friend who was a network marketer, and I learned a lot from her. She said that she would be sitting there, she would do a meditation and say, who is wanting this stuff? Right? And she had this whole thing, more elaborate than that. But let's just say she did a little ritual around becoming ready to receive who was ready to want what she had, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then she would hear things like, go to the 7-Eleven. Now, you could easily ignore this, right? And she said, why am I going to the 7-Eleven? Go to the 7-Eleven. I don't need anything. Go to the 7-Eleven. So she goes to the 7-Eleven. Outside, she notices there's like this bulletin board. So she's looking for a tack to put up her little flyer. And somebody comes up behind her and says, are you looking for a tack? Here's one, and pulls up a tack for her. She puts up the flyer. The person with the tack says, oh, I'm interested in that. And next thing you know, they're connecting.
Yeah, wow. I don't know if I've ever gotten a message like that.
Well, we do all the time.
That's interesting.
And all the good things that happen to us come as little messages. Like, you should go to that thing.
Wow.
You know, or you should, where we've met at JVX, you should go to that thing, you know, or, you know, you should, maybe it's time to go on a walk. You know, there's things that we get messages all the time. Sometimes we listen, sometimes we don't. My feeling is that if you set your intention, if you do some meditation, if you focus in on what you desire, if you be authentic, things will begin moving in that direction.
So if you wanted our audience to walk away with just one thing today, what would you want to leave them with?
I want you to know that yourself is the most attractive thing that you can share. And your most vulnerable, authentic self is it's most entertaining and engaging and poignant and significant, meaningful of what you can share. So even if it's painful for you to be that authentic, that's probably a good idea. I notice personally, that's when I get the best results.
Some people never get to that place, Julia.
I'm encouraging you to get to that place now.
Yeah.
As one of my friends recently said to me, when are you going to do that thing? We've got about 20 to 50 years left, on this planet. So when are you going to do your thing that changes the world? Well, better do it now. Better do it now.
And well, now is the best time to start, period. Whatever it is, now is.
It is. And tell people why you care. Tell people why you care. Don't keep that to yourself. Yeah, some people will disagree with you and it'll hurt. But the people that will agree with you, they won't know until you share that they do, first of all. And that's what they're agreeing with. Your true, authentic self. And then you have the experience of the people in your life really knowing you, getting you, and loving you for that.
But where does Julia see Julia in 5 years?
Painting a lot more. And I'm running some kind of a podcast called Women Who Won't Be Silent, uplifting and empowering women around the world to stand up and make the change that we all are seeking.
And what kind of reaction have you gotten to that?
Really positive. It's just, I've been a perfectionist and doing other things. I've had the idea for about 4 years. And it ties in perfectly with my entire history. when I share it, I get incredible response, a positive response. So it's just about, and that's what I'm saying, that's what my friend said to me. When are you going to do that thing? And I realized there's no good reason why not to. It's a horrible, horrible reason, whatever tells me not to do my real purpose, my true calling, the thing that I was designed for.
Well, I think it's interesting that with all your deepness, your authenticness, your awareness, all of that, that even you, Julia, had 4 years to say, I was really going to do this and I need to do it now. And somebody had to say to you, do it now. And I think that's encouraging for our listeners, because all of us need a little push and we need to do what we need to do.
Oh, Gayle, I have a book that's been in the making since 1995. When you're highly creative, there's a lot of things you're putting off, but there's no time like the present.
Well, I want to remind people again that you have this free book at http://www.brandingfromtheheartbook.com. Is there any other place you would like them to go to find out about you, or anything else that you would like to have them know about you?
Well, you can go to magical-marketing.com, magical-marketing.com, and see some of the designs that I've done for people. That's one of my specialties, is being able to express your soul's essence through your brand. And so you might enjoy seeing how I do that on my design gallery.
So that's magical-marketing.com. Yes. And that will be where you can find out a lot more about Julia and the things that she does and the things that she has accomplished, and see a lot of her designs as well. Anything else? Because we've got a few minutes left, and I want to make sure that we covered everything that you wanted to say today.
Well, one thing that I would like to say is, if we go back to the thing about traditional marketing being harmful to a heart-based business, what I want to say is I meet people all the time who feel that the thing that they learned at that workshop or whatever somebody taught them doesn't feel right to them, that it's best to not do it. And to really honor your gut, because you want to be completely in alignment with your marketing. Even if it's just making sure that it's simple, if it turns out you have a simpler approach, like what I said, where you're just inviting people, to solve their problem. Because simpler is better than too hyped up.
Well, I think that's a very key point, and that is the simpler you keep your marketing, the simpler you keep your message, the more true to form, to your authentic form, to your authentic self, the better it is. I mean, it just happens to be like that. Well, I'll tell you something. It's been a really interesting interview today, Julia. I hope you opened the eyes and the minds of our listeners. And I hope that those of you who are listening will go to Julia's site, magical-marketing.com, that you will go and get her book, which is, again, brandingfromtheheartbook.com. And I want to thank you for being with us today. It's been a delight. And I know our listeners benefited a great deal from hearing from you, Julia. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Gayle. And I love your brand, SOB, Spunky Old Broad. I love it.
Thank you.